There he is.
How's it going, man?
Good, and yourself?
Great, great. And I can hear you, and you can hear me. How about that?
That's the most important thing. Hallelujah. On the
We
first day.
nailed it.
Yeah, we did. Appreciate the time, Keith. I won't keep you for too long. Obviously, want to talk about the tour, talk about the solo career, get your opinion on a couple of things, and let's dig into the tour, man. This is a really cool, diverse lineup. Yeah, I'm liking it, dude. I like the diversity in it. You got Jinjer from Ukraine, kind of more of an extreme metal thing. Disturbed, kind of almost more on the industrial tip, and then Breaking Benjamin, who I feel is just kind of a straight up rock band. A little bit of everything, different eras, different shades of the color. We got you at FivePoint Amp in Irvine on Thursday, July 20th.
Yeah, super excited. We've toured with Disturbed before back in 2016, and just had a blast. Those guys are so awesome, and just a really great band. They've really been around a long time, and watching them every night, you see why. You're like, they're just really great. David's such a great vocalist, and just the band is just solid as hell. I mean, they're really great. So looking forward to that. And coming into this, I wasn't too familiar with Ginger, but I've checked out a few of their tunes, and I'm super excited. Really, really awesome band that's been around a little while here,
Yeah.
and it should be a great tour. It's funny. I look forward to these summer tours to see the bands and to play the shows, but then I think about, oh man, I'm going to be outside. It's going to be hot as hell. And I'm like, ah. So I bought a fan. So I did make a purchase.
We're definitely gonna get to that in a second. But yeah, touching on Ginger, man, really cool, unique kind of band, like extreme metal mixed in with some like reggae, and she's almost like the Gwen Stefani of metal.
Yeah, it's really different sounding, and I love getting out on these tours with bands that I'm not too familiar with, because I mean it really just kind of opens my eyes and opens my mind to just all kinds of new sounds and new stuff. So I love that. I love just getting exposed to new stuff. So it should be great.
Yeah, dude, I was definitely going to touch upon the last time you were at FivePoint Amp in Irvine with Bush and Alice in Chains on quite possibly the hottest day of the year
Oh
ever,
yeah,
dude. And I was
yeah.
watching you the whole time, and I was like, oh, you at least had a jacket on, or if not a long sleeve shirt to start with. But didn't stay on for very long. And I'm sure you were passing in front of Ben, who had those big fans on stage, that like big tubing of air blowing on him the whole time. So sure you made sure to walk over there a few times throughout the set.
Yeah, I was probably next to Ben more so than I've ever been on that day. He's like, "What are you doing over here?" I'm like, "Uh, you're huge fans." But no, that one was a God. Yeah, I remember that one. And yeah, I always got last tour or last summer. I always had like the wardrobe change. You
Mhm.
start with the jacket, maybe change the look a little bit. And that day I was kind of thinking, why am I doing this? But I still did it.
I saw you walk out with the jacket. And I was like, okay, he's going for it. He's sticking to the role. But I mean, I would have walked out there in the speedo and a tank top. It was
Yeah, there we
hot that
go. Hey, that's a good idea. We can start selling some Breaking Ben Speedos, and I'll wear that shit.
I was trying to think for you, man. Does a show like that make your like top five of worst shows ever? Would it be something like that playing in extreme heat, or is it gear breaking down, or what's like the worst show ever, if not that one?
That's a really great question. For the most part, I enjoy the heat to a certain extent, because I don't know, if it's hot and humid, it's always usually really good for your voice, and it's
Uh,
easier to sing. Harder to breathe, but easier to sing. Um, so I wouldn't say that the heat is too bad. Although I will say we played a place in San Antonio. I can't remember. This was right when the band was just first kind of coming back in 2015, and this place was absolutely miserable. It was so stinking hot that I mean, and I do remember that as being, this sucks. So that's pretty bad. I had one show where I got sick in the middle of a show.
ooh,
I literally just looked at my guitar tech, and I just was like, please just get a bucket. Please get a bucket. This is going to be bad. So, and I had to run off stage and hurl.
Guitar
And I was
still
still,
on?
it was like in the middle of a song, and I'm like hurling and playing, and oh, it was awful. So that's probably my worst, yeah, worst one.
Speaking of the show and the set list, I'm sure you guys haven't got to that yet, but I'm kind of curious, man. Are you like, hey, whatever Ben wants to play, or do you kind of go in and dig deep in the catalog and try to find that one song to bring in and be like, let's play this one this time around?
Yeah, well, it depends really on the time, how much time we have to play. Usually on a headlining set, we play the songs that people want to hear, all the hits, the singles, whatever. And then we'll have personal band favorites that are like, oh, let's throw that one in. We'll learn it real fast, or go over it again. But Ben's pretty easy. He's kind of like, yeah, let's play whatever. So, which is cool. So we kind of have the choice there to kind of throw some new ones in every once in a while. But shorter sets, we don't have as much liberty. We don't have as much time, so we kind of got to play
The
the
hit.
songs that people really want to hear.
Yeah.
Maybe
Especially
one outlier, but yeah.
especially with a band like Disturbed. I mean, you guys both have like a dozen hits each, so I'm sure it's just going to be hit parade.
They have so many songs and so many hits, man. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to watching them.
Yeah, it's going to be a killer show. Speaking of set and music and new music, dude, Ember 2018, obviously the pandemic got in there and screwed things up for everybody, but got to be working on new music by now, right?
100%. Yeah, we've always been kind of writing and kind of chronicling some ideas over the past few years, through the pandemic, all that stuff. We've always been writing. But here recently it started to tick up a little bit. So I'm hoping there's going to be some new music out sometime within the next year.
Year.
That's a nice safe answer. I could say month, I could say 2 months, but I'm going to say year, just because it's been so long. I don't know, screw ourselves somehow. I don't know.
I was hoping you were going to say minutes.
I know, right? We've got a new song coming out in
Uh,
30 seconds. Nah. No, but no, we've got some stuff in the works. We've got a lot of music recorded. Ben just posted yesterday. He just tracked some vocals for a song.
uh,
So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We move at our own pace here, much to the dismay of a lot of people I've noticed online. I'll post stuff about, hey, I got a new solo album, and people be like, that's cool and all, but where's new Breaking Band? I'm like, I don't know. But no, it's awesome. It's exciting. It's going to be a lot of music coming out from both the band and myself, and man, I can't wait. I can't wait to get it out there finally.
yeah, been too long. Ember was great too to end on such a high note. I was like, figured that coming out of the pandemic, everyone's going to have two albums to put out. So it's like, we need some new music out of Breaking Ben for sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a while, and it's amazing to me how fast the time has gone. I feel like the whole pandemic was such a blur and a blip. I mean, at the time, it didn't feel like that, but
No.
now here we are, a few years removed. We were like, "Geez, what happened?" It was like, it's just crazy that we lived through that shit.
It is, man. But I have to thank you for keeping us entertained during that, dude. I loved the Dream Away song that you put out during the pandemic, and then
Thank you.
eventually we talked at that point, and then eventually putting out the entire solo album, which I was going to beat you up about. But doing some stalking, I saw you posted some photos from LA and working on solo album number 2.
Yeah, dude, first off, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was fun. That it was funny. I had those songs kind of going in regards to the first solo album. I had those songs kind of in the works before the pandemic hit.
Hmm.
And lots of people were like, "Oh, you did you write this during the pandemic?" I'm like, "No, but I waited a while just because I didn't want to just release it in 2020 because I just thought that 2020 was cursed."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll wait for 2021. And then, of course, that year was kind of messed up too. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, I got some new stuff going. New album, just recorded it in LA for over the last, I guess a couple weeks I was out there, and yeah, it's I got to make the most of my time. I was out there for 2 weeks, and we recorded 12 songs in
Oh wow.
14 days, and
Wow.
that's all the time I have to get out there before Breaking Bench stuff starts happening. So it's a lot of work, but I love it. So
Was there any sort of mission statement or anything you didn't do the first time around that you're like, I gotta make sure I do X, Y, and Z on the second album?
I wouldn't say that. I think just
More the
try to get better. I mean, try to write better songs and try to um, just improve as a songwriter, as a singer, and guitar player, all that stuff, and try to get it out there the best I can. I really want to try to get this one out to as many and as far as it can go. So that's where I'm at. Lots of people, they've asked me over the years. They'll ask me continuously whether or not, hey, if something happened with this solo thing, would you ever quit Breaking Benjamin? And I always tell them the same thing. That's no, because I love being in this band, and I love the guys in the band, and it's great. I feel like there's a universe where both of those things can coexist. And so far over the last few years, it's been coexisting fine. Granted, it's an extra work for me, but
of course.
like I said, I live for it, so I love it.
And obviously there's a method to your madness. Do you set aside riffs and go, oh, that's a Breaking Ben riff versus a solo riff, or is it just kind of whatever you're writing for at that time is what comes out of you?
I would say the latter. I when I'm writing or whatever, I have an idea and I have a focus in mind. This is what this is for. There's things that I've written, with Breaking Benjamin in mind, that for whatever reason doesn't get used or whatever, or it's just kind of there, but it's a cool idea, and for whatever reason I still just kind of like to approach my solo stuff with a clean slate. I don't like to go back and get
Hmm.
old Breaking Benjamin ideas or whatever, because I want it to be a different thing. It sounds different. I don't want it to kind of really be anywhere close to it. And I think just, with my voice and the way I write and my lyrics and stuff like that, it doesn't sound anything like it anyway, but
Yeah.
I don't even want to do that. So
Yeah, they're distinctly different on purpose.
for sure. I mean, and not even so much on purpose, but almost just accidentally. I'm just kind of doing my thing, and I just sound like me. I don't know. And Ben sounds like Ben, so I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, no, different singing style for sure,
Hmm.
man. But I love it and look forward to the second album. First album was great. I mean, lots of jams on there. Dream Away, Warfare, It Finds Us All, Fractured. I think was my favorite on the album. So looking
Thank you,
forward
man.
to more of that. And this year, next year, what are you thinking?
That's a good question too. Gosh, the year's running out. I'm hoping to have at least one song out by the end of the year.
Okay,
Hopefully a single, and then I would assume probably album comes out, sometime next year. Hopefully first quarter, second quarter, something like that. Um, but whenever, and that just depends too. Whatever Breaking Benjamin's release
right,
schedule is. I'll let the label people figure that out. Here's the music. You guys figure out the
right.
scheduling and the logistics.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, Keith, I appreciate all the time. I want to hit you with one last thing, man. We're an old school radio station. We do a feature called Mandatory Metallica, which you're going to be a part of. And my question this year has kind of been I've been debating the best Metallica album with a buddy of mine. My buddy
Okay.
Brent, who sings in the band Against the Sun. We've been going back and forth. His pick is Ride the Lightning, and my pick is Master of Puppets. What do you think
Okay.
out of those two? If you had to pick a number one out of those two, which one's the number one out of those two albums?
Out of those two,
Yeah.
gosh. Okay. Well, let me preface this with those would not be my top pick for
Okay.
number one Metallica album.
What would be? What would be?
I would say Black Album.
Ah, okay.
I would say Black Album, which lots of the traditionalist metal people would be like, "Ah, that's the pop album." But I don't know. Maybe I'm a pop guy. I don't know, but I love it. I would say between the two, Of your all's picks, I would lean toward Master of Puppets. But man, Black Album for me does it. I feel like that's where they just kind of really just hit their stride, I guess. I don't know. That, great songs. I mean, you can just it just I mean, it's probably on the charts now,
Yeah.
still just killing it. So I mean, 30 years later, that was actually my first cassette tape. My older brother got me a
Ah,
cassette tape for Christmas, and he's like, "Here, man, Merry Christmas." And I opened it up, and it was Metallica Black Album.
but had you
And
already heard Enter Sandman by that point and everything else?
I think maybe I'd either like, yeah, I'd heard it once or twice, and I was like, "Dang, that's sick," but I didn't think about it. I was a kid. I wasn't really too super obsessed with music yet, but it was about to change because when I got that tape, I really became obsessed with music. I was like, I want to learn how to play guitar. And I mean, it really just
Wow.
changed the trajectory of my life and my future. So to me, Metallica, they're always my number one. Like that would be my number one hero to ever meet is James Hetfield. It
Hetfield.
would be, yeah, man. And I know a couple people that have met him. They say he's just awesome. So I'm just like, God, that's so cool.
Is it
But
all about the down picking with Hetfield? Is
it's
that why
about
you're
everything. It's about everything. It's about his freaking mustache. It's about his down picking. It's about his guitar. His voice is unbelievable. I mean, and,
yeah,
and especially on the Black Album, like so good. I mean, I love the people call it clean vocals now.
right,
That's a new term now. There's screaming, then there's clean vocals.
right.
But James has a great clean kind of like almost
Nothing
kind
else
of
matters.
country. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's just cool, man, and just being able to do that, and then being able to have the grit and his just distorted voice is just amazing. It's just I don't know. I can go on and on about that album, but anyway.
Well, I love that you picked Master, and I can appreciate the love for the Black Album. Why don't you pick a song for Mandatory Metallica? What song can we play for you on Mandatory Metallica?
um, gosh, ooh, all right, let's go. Let's go. I was gonna say like Orion
Hmm.
because it's just awesome, but it's like I want to get. This it's like an instrumental, so I'm
Yeah.
like, let's go with Unforgiven
Ah,
one, Unforgiven one.
yeah. Not three. Thank you.
No.
Unforgiven one. We'll rock that one for you, Keith. I appreciate it, man. Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for the time. Can't wait to see you at 5 Point Amp in a few weeks.
Dude, looking forward to it. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Of course. And when the solo album comes out, love to have you again, man. We'll do something for that. I would love to.
I would love that. I would love that.
For sure. We'll make it happen. Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, brother. See you
Safe
soon.
travels. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.